Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Really not a lot of change from what I felt on Saturday when you go back and look at the video and try to figure out exactly what happened. It's pretty obvious in our program that we're playing better at home than we are on the road. We're 10-4 at home, and we're 5-7 on the road, and 2-1 in neutral site games. And I counted the game Saturday night as a home game because it was Georgia Tech and full right there near their campus. And good teams win at home, great teams win everywhere. And we're not at that point yet. The game at Georgia Tech was so much like the game at Virginia Tech. Offensively, there was penetration in run game, too many lost yards, too many sacks, too many turnovers, and we gave turnovers on Georgia Tech's end and put entirely too much pressure on our defense. There's really, you take the three fumbles that were on the Georgia Tech end of the field, and then the 2 4th down stops, which are like 5 turnovers. You're not going to have 5 turnovers in a ball game and win the game, period. And all of them led to points, and all of them were on Georgia Tech's end. And the defense did a fantastic job of trying to hang in there for a long time. And then they finally broke in the 4th quarter. So that's the biggest thing that I see after wins and losses. I try to be as honest with you as I can and be factual and still protect certain coaches or protect players, because that's my style. That's what I'm going to do today. Special teams, we felt like we were much improved. Another block punt, which is really exciting and gives us a chance moving forward to win games on special teams. We had 1 punt return of 11 yards, and that was also a huge plus. And the way the night went, we have a field goal that we make, but left guard moves, and then we have to re-kick it, and he misses it by 6 inches to the left. So it's kind of the way the night went. And we're 9-20 in Atlanta, and I don't know why. I don't know why certain places are harder for teams to play than others, and probably just builds on the success. And we won pretty easily down there 2 years ago. But thought our punt coverage was really, really good. Our protection was good. We did miss the field goal, as I said, and as good as Jonathan Kim's been, we needed him to get it deep on the field, and we kicked one out of bounds late in the game when we're trying to still come back and win the game. When you look at stats from since we've been here, we're 16-3 when we've outrushed the opponent. We're 1-9 when we do not. And obviously we did at Virginia Tech, but it was by a couple of yards. It was very, very similar. And then the other night, it wasn't close. Defensively, when you look at it, I've been around this long enough to at least state the facts with players. You after a game you lose, you think everybody played poorly, and they didn't. We had a lot of guys play really good. And the sad thing for them is that'll go unnoticed. And we had a lot of guys on defense, especially, that played hard and played by far their best game. Our interior linemen did a great job of controlling the line of scrimmage. The inside backers had a really good night, and the 2 corners did a great job. We had the one tremendous throw and catch on Kyler McMichael in the corner, but there were a lot of one-on-one situations, and those guys stepped up and got better with it. The thing that we did is we missed too many tackles. You normally have to miss 10 or less tackles to win a game, and we missed 13. And they've got 2 tremendous skill guys in Sims and Gibbs, and they're as good as anybody in the country, and we knew that. But 3 of the runs of the 130 yards rushing with Sims were mistakes or missed tackles, and we just can't do that. We've got to have fewer mistakes and do a better job of tackling. The defense did a tremendous job with sudden change and not pointing fingers at the offense, because I've never, in my coaching career, I've never seen the ball given to a team on their side of the field that many times. First time in 47 years that I've seen that happen. And we still had a chance to win the ball game. Defensively, the sad thing, the tough thing is we just had one sack and we still didn't force a turnover. So those are areas that we've got to do a better job. And they'd only had 6 explosive plays, but they were all critical plays during the game. And the fourth quarter, where we've normally been really, really good, we got outscored 18-8. And that's not been who we are at all. I still thought at 14-27, as poorly as we had played, that that we would still come back and win the game 28-27. And defensively, we just couldn't make the stops as the offense started getting better. Offensively, I think we had the 6th best output in school history last week. And I really felt like the offense felt too good about themselves. And Georgia Tech did a good job, hit us in the mouth, and we didn't respond very well. And that's disappointing, but it is what it is. And I was concerned about that last week. We're not at a point where we're consistent enough that we are playing each week because we just need to play, and individualizing each game and playing as hard as we can each week. But you can't have 63 yards rushing and a bunch of sacks and a bunch of turnovers and lose 63 yards and win any football games. Josh Downs and our tight ends played well, but offensively we were very inconsistent as a team and very disappointing. So again, give credit to Georgia Tech, because they are the ones that created and caused the stuff that happened to us. I also told the team and the offensive staff, I love for going for 4th and short. One time I went for a 4th and 1 at Arkansas on the -20 when we were at Texas, and we made it, because you should make 1 yard, and we didn't make it 3 straight plays. And that's totally unacceptable and something that we have got to correct. And that's not just offensive line, that's backs, that's quarterback, that's everybody. So we botched it on 3 straight plays. Am I going to keep doing it? Gosh, I hope we get better enough that we can. We did it earlier in the game and made it without question at the same spot. So, and probably if you can't make a yard on 3 straight plays, you're not going to win the game anyway. So, but I put us in an awful position by allowing them to get the ball again on their end of the field. The other thing that bothers me, and I told the offensive staff this, the same problems I saw at Virginia Tech, I saw Saturday night. We've got to get them fixed, and we got to get them fixed now, because you can't continue to make the same mistakes. That's many years ago, Coach Bowden said, if it's not working, fix it, because if you keep doing the same stuff and it's not working, you're gonna get beat. And that's a huge mistake. So we've got to do better in that area. Duke's playing well. Their offense is playing at a very high level. I'll talk more about them on Wednesday, but David's done a tremendous job. This is an important game because it's a rival game, and when people get something that you play for, like the Victory Bell, it's very, very important to your university and your fan base. And that makes it very important to your players. And fans that go to church with fans at the other school, and they work with them, and they see them in the grocery store, don't want to hear bragging rights from the other end. And the last thing before I answer questions is I'm doing a better job of fixing things in my mind when they're not working and moving forward. And we've got to do that. A lot of people they'll stay angry about this game some the rest of their lives, a bunch for the rest of the week. We got to go back today and start preparing for Duke. So fix the mistakes that you made and move forward, because each game is important and each game is different. Does this set us back for the progress in our program? Not really, but it really hurts us short time for this season. But I'm really excited about us going forward with the recruiting we're doing and the young players that are making plays. Jabari Ritzie was all over the field the other night, and as a true freshman, that doesn't happen very often. So a number of those guys are doing some really good things, and that's exciting for the future. Questions?
Thank you, Coach. Please use the raised hand function if you have a question. And our first one will come today from Andrew Jones. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, Coach, just a couple of minutes ago, you said that Georgia Tech punched your offense in the mouth and they didn't respond very well. Was it the offense as a whole? Was it the guys up front? And regarding the guys up front, they've been around for a while. They're a very experienced group. How concerning is it that they didn't respond to that the way you would like?
Well, Andrew, I just said some responded well and some didn't. You talk about a team, but you have to go back through each individual player. So it would be wrong for me to leave you the impression that nobody played well. Some did, and I'll let Phil talk to you about the offense. He'll be here in just a minute. But did we do a good job of blocking them? No.
What is the level of concern about the pass protection and 8 sacks in a game like this? And you have 14 in 2 road games.
Yeah, it's really high.
Thank you.
I mean, that's way too many. You shouldn't have that many in a season, much less 2 games.
Okay, over to CL Brown.
Hey, Mac, you kind of alluded to it, but I was wondering, coming off of a game like that in a disappointing performance, is it good to have a team like Duke as your next opponent? Because, you know, you've kind of mentioned before, it's easier to coach after a loss. Does having a rival opponent get their attention this week and you know, put you in a position where you feel like they will be sharp, they will be focused, there won't be any kind of, you won't lose 2 games off of this loss at Georgia Tech, basically?
CL, it probably does, but we had Georgia State after Virginia Tech, and Georgia State showed they're better than people think they are this weekend, had a chance to beat Auburn down to the last second. But, you know, when you get to be a good team, you got to get ready to play. And there aren't going to be many teams that win all the games. And we've had a disappointing start from what we had hoped, obviously, and we've got to keep getting better. That's the thing with us. We have to keep getting better, and that was the biggest disappointment. I thought our defense did some better things on Saturday night. I thought our kicking game did some better things. Our offense took a huge step back after taking the biggest step forward we've seen since last week. So that's why coaches have gray hair and their stomachs hurt on Saturday. You never know who's going to show up. And we can't do that. We haven't had the offense and the defense show up on the same day. And that's, as a team, we've got to play good as a team. We haven't played good as a team yet. And that's what we've got to do.
Thank you.
Greg Barnes, go ahead.
Hey, Mac, in terms of post-game evaluation, I understand that the players watch film and then they go through the corrections the day after. But before you get to that point, kind of what is the process that you undertake with the coaching staff and kind of looking at things and deciding where the mistakes were made and how things need to get better?
Yeah, Greg, I get so disappointed with a loss, and I'm probably too excited with a win. But I have learned with my personality, after a loss, I don't talk to anybody except you all after the game. And I wouldn't talk to you unless I had to, but I have to. Because I asked Jeremy, do I have to? And he said I had to. So as much as I enjoy you all, I did not enjoy our conversations after a loss. And I've learned, I used to say really hurtful things. And because I'm just angry and I'm disappointed and I'm mad at everybody. And so the best thing for me to do is say very little, try to keep it in until I can at least watch the video. And then I've got some reasons to some of the things I've said in the past were not warranted because I actually jumped on a player once for doing something. He didn't do it. So that's why coaches have to be so careful after games, because you think you saw something and maybe you didn't, or maybe it wasn't his fault, it was somebody else's fault when you get in the video. So I've learned that I'm not good mad. My personality mad is not good at all, and I have a temper, and I control it most of the time. But in losing, I didn't. So what I do is I get on the plane or go straight home after a game when I get through with everybody here. And I sit and I watch the game about 4 times. And what you do is you you're tired, you're mad after a loss, and you grade harder than you would if you'd won. And that's, you have to really be careful to do that. So I try to grade the same way, win or lose. And to be fair, that's hard to do, but it's what I try to do. And I get to see everything. Nobody else looks at everything. I'm the only one in our program that looks at everything. And then what I do is I write notes during the entire video. And the next day we sit down with coaches individually and or as a group, and I go over every play with them. And it's weird, but every negative play with them. I don't go over the positive plays. I think those are good. I don't brag on the ones that are doing great. I think that's obvious. My job is to try to correct mistakes. And I had that meeting again with the offensive staff. And I'll have it with the defensive staff. That there's fewer things to correct with them right now, but we still got some things we have to correct. And then I'll have it with the special teams. But offensively, just like Andrew asked, I've got the same questions everybody else has. And then I get to know more about why it's not working. But my job and their job as assistant coaches is to fix it. And if you have the same problems for 4 weeks, and sometimes you get fooled because the Virginia game fooled us. We thought a lot of things were fixed, and then they really weren't. So we got to go back to look at it. How much of it's on the road, I don't know. I know the numbers say that we're not playing well on the road. I know when you look at Virginia, and they're 15-3 at home and 6-20 since Bronco's been there on the road. We all know that it's harder to play on the road. I'm still not sure why. Good teams can play in a parking lot. So I don't get into all that stuff. But we're not consistent enough as a team to be where we needed to be.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ross Martin, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how do you motivate and inspire your team now with some of the goals that were stated at the beginning of the season, kind of weighing the distance, particularly, competing for the Coastal at 1 and 2 in the ACC? What's the strategy with some motivational techniques?
Yeah, it's a good question. I motivate them to play because you love the game. And I've always told them, do the best that you can do. And then we'll end up going where we deserve. You don't get to go to the Orange Bowl in preseason because somebody said you're going to. That's just talk. So, and you better like what you've earned. Don't be griping about going to a bad bowl if you didn't play good. Facts. I mean, this stuff, it's real. And I really talk to them like I talk to you all. I told them yesterday exactly what I just told you. And they got in at 3:30 in the morning, and they're tired, and their kids and the staff's tired. And then you're on top of getting beaten down. It's like CL said, you got to pick them back up. And Duke helps that, but you got to get everybody picked back up. We actually didn't practice yesterday because everybody was worn out mentally and physically. So I could tell it. So I said, okay, go to your meetings and get things fixed, and let's go back to work on Tuesday. Let's do that. But it's about you. In life, you get what you earn. And right now, we haven't earned very much. We haven't earned respect. We haven't earned a top 20 rating. We haven't earned possibilities of anything at the end. And each team gets what they earn. And that's the thing. And Coach Longo and Coach Bateman will try to do it with you today too. It's you're honest as you can be with the players in a group. And then if you've got somebody, Ross, that's really struggling, you bring him in individually. So you don't embarrass him in front of the group. And you always bring him in with his position coach. May even call his family and talk to them. And same thing with our fans. I come here and try to be as honest with you guys and the fans as I can possibly be with certain parameters that if it was my son, I wouldn't want someone talking like that about him. And to a certain degree, the same with the assistant coaches. It's my responsibility that they do what they're supposed to do. And if they're not doing it, it really comes back to me.
Let's go over to Patricio Bernaldez.
Okay, hey coach, I would like to know, so Duke ranks 8th in total yards per game in passing and 13th in rushing. and leading the conference in that category. I would like to know if the stopping the run is the key to holding that offense down.
Yes, they are very balanced. They're as balanced as anyone in the country. Durant is the second leading rusher in the ACC. He's really, really talented. Holberg is completing over 70%, and he's run for 6 touchdowns. And we haven't stopped the run great. We haven't gotten after quarterbacks very well, and we haven't stopped running quarterbacks. So we've got our hands full with those guys.
Ken Segura, go ahead.
Mac, after the game Saturday, you compared, you said that Jeff Sims looks like Vince Young to you, and I'm curious if you could expound on that a little bit.
When I first saw him in his first game at Georgia Tech, I said, ooh, this guy's really good. He's very talented. So he's going to give them a chance moving forward. And he's tall. He's got the strides like Vince. He outruns people. You don't know how fast he is, but he's faster than everybody chasing him. And he's a very accurate passer. And we allowed him to run. We stopped him a lot, but when he got away, he had a 38 and a 50-yard run. And we allowed him to throw it and complete it. So he was very accurate. And to show you what kind of night it was, Ken, we even batted a ball in the air and they caught it. I mean, it was one of those nights where you had to be good enough to overcome everything that happened negative. But that's what I saw in him when I first saw him play for Georgia Tech. I said, look out, this guy has a chance to be a superstar. And I saw that Saturday night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, over to Adam Smith.
Hey, Mac. When you're talking about fixing problems and being bothered by some of the ones that keep reappearing, I guess. I mean, do you see it as a going back to the drawing board type situation, like an overhaul, something to that effect? Like what do you see in terms of actually going about fixing what you don't like the execution of it?
Yeah. Adam, I hate excuses. I hate them. And to me, an excuse doesn't help you get better. So I like direct conversation, and we will take the sacks that we have had this year. We'll go back through every one of them, and we will write down exactly what happened in every one of them, and then fix it. Fix it. If we can't drop back and pass against a certain player, then don't put our player in a position to try to block somebody he can't block. Move the quarterback, chip him with the back, get the tight end involved. I mean, but don't just keep making the same mistakes. I hate that. And our centers have been banged up. If they're struggling, help them. Get somebody else to help them. Change your schemes. But football is a very simple game to me. That's all I've done my whole life. People are very complicated. And getting all the people on the same page when things are not working in a very public and visible business is the key to our jobs. And that's what I've got to do. I've got to do a better job getting all of our coaches on the same page. The other thing is, we just talked about it. Duke has an identity offensively. We know what they're going to do. David has done a tremendous job. They're going to run the inside zone. They're going to run boots and nakeds. They're going to have play action. They got 4 of the 5 offensive linemen back from last year. They're really good skilled people. And that's why they're averaging 38 points a game. And they're one of the best offenses in the country. Right now, we don't have an identity. We did last year, the last 2 years. We don't right now. And we've got to get an identity on offense. We got to be good at something. And I mean consistently good. We looked as good as I've ever seen us look against Virginia. And that's the confusing thing with people. Why not this week? Why didn't repeat it? Now, Georgia Tech's better than people think they are, like Georgia State's better than people think they are, because Georgia Tech nearly beat Clemson with Yates. They had it down to a last second. So we're looking at a different Georgia Tech team than we all perceived in preseason. And then when you add Sims back to that team, they have a chance on offense as well. Would have been interesting to see Sims play against Clemson. But That's my job right now is try to take all the negatives and fix them. And there's some that are perceived that aren't really the issues. And then some that need to be fixed that'll help others. And again, Josh Downs plays great Saturday. He doesn't play good. He plays great. He won't get credit for that.
When you're mentioning taking the notes on Sundays, or when you go and rewatch the video from the game, do you find yourself feeling the same things you felt during the game, or is it's sort of a different experience almost as you're watching it from another angle? Like, do you get angrier? Do you get happier? Like, what do you find yourself feeling when you're doing that in your rewatch?
That's a great point. And what I've learned, Adam, is normally I feel better after I watch it because there's certain guys that played so hard and they played so good. I've never seen our defense play harder until they didn't. You know, and they played hard late. They made some mistakes, but the early first half, that we should have been so far out of the game. It was Florida State. I mean, it should have been a 31-7, and our defense played so hard. I didn't feel that during the game because I was too mad at the offense for turning it over. So really the feeling and the emotions go up and down, and that's why I watch it 4 times. And sometimes on the 4th time, I'll say, that I'm too harsh here. That's not fair. I'm mad at him. I'm mad at that group, but he played good. So I change it. And that's why I watch 4 times. And I'll watch the TV copy. I'll watch the front end, the back end, the side angle, because I want to see every angle of every play that I can get. And part of that's for officiating as well. We give a report to the officials in the ACC every Sunday. And I want to make sure that we're sending them ones that if we question it, I don't want to be the guy that lost and sent 25 in because you're mad. I want us to be the staff that looks at the play and sends it based on what we felt.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Okay, last one for Coach will come from JB Ricks.
Good morning, Coach. Appreciate you taking out this time. I just have a generic question in regards to what the Duke-North Carolina rivalry means to you on the football field. And is there a little extra spice added this year, considering where both teams are at right now going into October, compared to where pundits expected these teams to be before the season began?
Yeah. JB, I can't answer your second question because it's always important to me. So I guess your question would be for fans and media, is there a little more added but to me, you have to beat your rivals. And if you can't win your own state, how in the world can your fans or your team think they can win out of state? And it affects everything. It affects recruiting. It affects your fans. There's some reason that this was important enough that people got a prize for the winner. And we don't have another game with a prize. And I do know that David feels the same way. I mean, this game is very important. There was a scuffle with TCU and SMU after the game. That sounds like this weekend because they play for a skillet. Everybody wants that skillet. Everybody wants that victory bell. Then you paint it the way you want it. So whoever started that stirred this game up even more than just being a rival. They gave something else to play for. So there's great respect between the two programs. There's great respect with the players. I'm sure 8 miles apart, they hang out together some, but the game's very, very important. And it's important to me. It's important to our players. It's important to our university and our fan base, regardless of the records.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, Coach, that's for today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you all.